Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Hi there, and welcome once again to another edition of the Fightful Select 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic recap show. Wow, we're off to a rousing start. Hi there. I'm Mr. Warren Hayes, and tonight is an auspicious occasion because this is actually the final night of the 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic combination recap show. Because the Mae Young Classic is done as far as the weekly show goes. Don't fret everyone. Don't worry. I will still continue to come on to FightfulSelect.com and bring you weekly 205 Live NXT recaps. And who knows? Perhaps a little more addition to this, something new. Maybe next week we're going to be talking about, maybe we'll be adding some NXT UK to the mix. Started watching that last week. Pretty exciting stuff. I'm really, really glad that they've finally started with the brand. So, might see. Well, it'll pretty much all depend at what time slot this actually ends up for us on the Eastern Seaboard here. So we'll see what happens. Man, what an evening. By the way, speaking of next week, programming note, the 205 Live NXT combination show will happen will be pushed back one day onto November 1st. So it won't be on October 31st. Won't be next Wednesday, but will take place nonetheless, only on Thursday, one day later. So I hope you guys will be super indulgent and understand, but most importantly, come and check it out the next day nonetheless. Make a note of it in your calendars, folks. Try not to be disappointed. We'll all be able to move on. Let's get to it. Got some stuff to talk about tonight. But, we're going to start talking about it. But, you guys already know about Fightful Select. Forgot to mention. Whole bunch of stuff. Hope you've been checking out the Weekender podcast with Sean. His dark match commentaries. Hope you've been checking. Those are really fun. They're interesting. Some great stuff. Some nice flashbacks. And also, don't forget, retro pay-per-views. Quite a few of them. Did one, filmed a couple of them 2 weeks ago. An edition of WCW World War III and SummerSlam 1994. Couple of outstanding episodes there. We recently even broadcast one. We got one on with our pal John. John Baez was in the chat right now, making sure everything works perfectly, making sure there's no chat shenanigans tonight. We did that. Sean and I and John, ECW, one night stand, 2006. So go check those out. Fightful Select, the hookup. You're already here. 205 Live, man, 100 episodes. 100 episodes of 205 Live already. But when you think about it, you say already, but there's already quite a history. And it's a tumultuous history, right? From the cruiserweights splitting time on Raw, and just between Rich Swann, the Austin Aries, Neville, both of those guys leaving in acrimonious circumstances. Enzo, I mean, the cruiserweight title at some point seemed cursed. So like, what are they ever going to end up doing with 205 Live? But man, what a reconstruction, a rebuilding, refocus of what the cruiserweight brand means for WWE. It's the past 8 to 9 months have been outstanding, and you can see the direction that they want to go in. I'm supportive of it. I love it. Now they're mixing the card up ever since Buddy Murphy won the cruiserweight titles, feeling a lot fresher. So that makes me happy. And long life to 205 Live. It's fantastic. We get a recap of the Hideo Itami Mustafa Ali feud to begin with. And I still feel, I've talked about this before, I still feel that it was a missed opportunity to have him come back from his injury so soon, especially when they established that, despite, I don't know if you recall this quite a few weeks ago when Ali was out with a mysterious injury, that he collapsed in the ring. Drake Maverick had said, even though the medical staff gives you the okay, you're not going back until the ring until I give you the okay. And I really thought that they were going to build to really play a long game on his feud with Tommy and really build him as a baby face, like, overcoming all the obstacles, management, keeping him down kind of thing. Even though Maverick is a good guy, he's doing it out of his best intentions. But I thought they really missed an opportunity to make him explode, make Ali explode as far as his babyface character goes. But I mean, we're getting payoffs tonight, so why not? But before we got Hideo and Mustafa, we got Lince Dorado versus Mike Kanellis. And it wouldn't be 205 Live, right, if the show didn't open with Lucha House Party and their friggin' noisemakers. Lince punches. Yes, he punches. That's what, didn't you know that's how you call a punch in Lucha Libre? It's a punch. He punches Kanellis down to start, hits a Hurricane Rana followed by a drop kick. He goes for the handstand elbow, but Kanellis has him scouted, moves out of the way. But Lince is all around him, all fired up, super aggressive, striking with fists, stomping him in the corner. Kanellis fights back with stomps of his own. He even chokes Lince over the ropes a couple of times just to make sure we fully understand that we really get it. That Lince is not Lince, but Mike Kanellis is the bad guy here. He's the heel. Lince battles back, sends Kanellis to the outside. Lince goes for a dive, but Maria distracts Lince. That allows good old Mike Kanellis to strike Lince down, get some ground and pound on him. Kanellis comes back, gets somewhat of a rainmaker on him, I guess you'd call that. Series of running corner clotheslines by Kanellis. Big kick, cover for two. Kanellis gets into some headlocks. He goes for a sort of a modified bow and arrow. He headbutts Lince. And that's when I noticed that Maria Kanellis's jacket, because there was a shot from the outside, and on the back of her jacket, she has a picture. It's basically a picture of Kanellis and their child. And I'm like, oh. Yeah, it's hard to hate the heels when they're such loving parents. Kind of like Miz and his kid. Gosh darn it. I wish you didn't love your kids so much, you heel parents. Lince runs the ropes and runs into a huge super kick by Kanellis, but he's long to cover, only gets two. Lince starts battling back. He clothesline strikes. Kanellis hits a rolling enziguri, which was really nice. He hits a fantastic top rope Hurricane Rana that Kanellis sold. He sold so well, he was flying through the air. He just flew off the ropes for a second there. That's right, John, the power of love, right? Mike and Maria, the power of love. John in the chat got my back. Kanellis hits a nice spine buster, goes for a cover, only gets two. We're going to head on to the end here. Kanellis pushes, they're on the outside of the ring. Kanellis pushes down the Lucha House Party, who were not necessarily interfering, but just being, loud. Lince then comes after Kanellis with the running Rana off the apron, which was really cool. Kanellis uses the ropes against Lince as they both struggle back in the ring, sort of slingshots the rope right into Lince's face. And that allows him to hit a swinging inverted DDT, I guess. I guess that it's his new finisher because he gets the win with that. Too bad it's not the power of love anymore, that the Samoan driver that he used to do. That was too bad. But still a win for Mike Kanellis. Good for him. Good for him. Drake Maverick, thanks everyone for supporting 205 Live. And he says that next week there will be a match to determine the number one contender for Buddy Murphy's Cruiserweight Championship, the very first challenger. Brian Kendrick then has a quick promo. He says, that You want to Drew Gulak, Jack Gallagher. What's up with you guys? There are better wrestlers that have tried to get rid of me, and I'm still around. And apparently next week he's going to get an ounce of revenge as he is going to be fighting Jack Gallagher. Leo Rush still considers himself undefeated despite being in a losing effort last week in the 4-way. To him, his undefeated streak is still clean. Then we have the champ, Buddy Murphy, accompanied by Tony Nese, who is on an uptick as it stands. The two have staked a claim at the top of the division, they say. Murphy and Nese believe that they both should be involved in the next cruiserweight match. Buddy feels that Tony Nese deserves it. He should be in the match next week, and the title picture starts and ends with these two. I find it interesting, odd, perhaps. What is it now? It's been 3 weeks since Super Showdown. And Buddy Murphy hasn't had any ring time, not necessarily to go out and perform or wrestle or perform, depending on what side of the spectrum you sit on. But it's still interesting that they have, he hasn't cut an in-ring promo. He hasn't been really out there all that much. Interesting. I guess you stretch it out, right? You make us want the champ a little more. Ladies and gentlemen, Hideo Itami and Mustafa Ali get ready to fight each other. It's the first Falls Count Anywhere match in the history of 205 Live, in the 100 episode history. There's some trash talking at first, and they go and lock up. Itami gets some crazy strikes in to begin with, and a huge back fist. And someone has to explain to me how you can protect yourself or protect your chum, your opponent, when you swing with such a stiff back fist. I don't understand how you just have to take it, I guess. It's just one of those moves. And Tommy gets, that's it. He does his offense, and so Ali is rocked, and he just condescendingly boots him to the face outside the ring. Ali battles back with the Hurricane Rana, sending Itami to the outside, goes for a plancha, hits him, and covers on the mat just for one. But that's a good way to remind us that Falls Count Anywhere, instead of having, everyone is starting to count stuff everywhere. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. Ali starts going aggro on Itami on the outside, tossing him everywhere. Back in the ring, Ali goes for a springboard, something. We're never going to know exactly what he was going for because he was countered midair with a kick by Itami. Ali falls face first on the apron, which is as you know, the hardest part of the mat. Itami goes to the cover for the outside, gets two. Back in the ring, Itami goes to work on Ali. He's striking very, very precisely. He's measuring his kicks to the side, to the back, occasional unsuccessful covers as well throughout. We're over 5 minutes about this point in the match, and Hideo Itami is not bleeding from the mouth. In fact, Hideo Itami did not bleed from the mouth at all, and he had a couple of occasions here. I don't understand how that happens. Maybe he got surgery. Ali follows with a quick combination of kicks to the face. Itami charges the corner, misses a running boot, and instead eats a big kick to the head once again. Sit out face buster by Ali, goes for a cover, but Itami kicks out at 2. On the outside now, Ali tries to jump off the barricade, but Itami brushes his legs off, and he falls hard into the little timekeeper area. And there's some dude in the background that's cackling really hard, really. Hideo is being arrogant, working the crowd, but Ali dives off the barricade out of nowhere with a huge shoulder block. At least I think that's what it was. The camera angle wasn't exactly perfect to see what exactly type of move it was. He tosses Itami onto the commentary table and gets it prepped. Takes off the paneling, but you know what he didn't do? You know what Mustafa Ali did not do? He didn't wipe off all the monitors and the pencils and microphones. like most of them do when they're prepping the announce table. And I never quite understood that, because if there's monitors spiking out and pencils and whatnot, doesn't it hurt your opponent more once you slam him on the table? So I like that. I thought it was a nice touch. It's like, no, let's just move the paneling because it's in my way. But let's keep the rest of the crap there. Itami reverses on Ali here. They're both on the announce table, but he reverses momentum and gets Ali in a single crab right on the announce desk, and he puts his foot on the back of Ali's head, and he's cradling him hard. That looked really, really good. Ali eventually breaks free, and Tommy kicks him off the table, and he lands in the barricade. They start fighting into the crowd. Super kick by Ali. Covers in the audience for 2, and the ref was slapping really, really hard on the concrete. You could hear, and when he stood back up, he was like, you could see him like shaking the kinks out of his arm. That was pretty funny. They start fighting up the ramp now. They're going all the way back up. But Itami lariats the hell out of Ali on the ramp. The reverse angle didn't look as good when they did the replay. Covers only gets 2. They're back in the ring for some top rope shenanigans, and Itami falls off to the outside, up on the stairs. Because Itami had been setting the stairs on the outside. I forgot to mention this. He sort of like placed them. He was doing something. He unstacked them and was placing them outside. Tommy falls to the outside, and then Ali hits a crossbody onto Itami, who was on the stairs, on one of the stacks of stairs. So he crossbodies directly onto Itami, who both fall over onto the ground. That was pretty crazy. Cover for 2. Ali pulls out a table, but we don't know what he has in mind for the table at that point, because he eats a running boot by Itami and interrupts any table positionment. Ali is prone over some stairs at this point. Itami goes to get some more stairs, sort of like to sandwich him, but it doesn't work. Ali moves out of the way. The stairs are now positioned like this. You have like the stack of stairs like this, and you have another stair which is positioned like at an angle like that, which allows Mustafa Ali to run up and off them and hit Itami with a tornado DDT. That was pretty cool. But instead of covering Itami, he sets up the table. He lays Itami on the table, goes up to the top rope, and hits the 450 off the top turnbuckle to the outside onto Hideo Itami through the table. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the win. It was a fine match. It was a really good match. To be perfectly honest, I thought they were going to crank it up a little more, but it was hard-hitting in and about itself. The Falls Count Anywhere stipulation was a little unnecessary because nothing that they did here really required the stip, the things with the stairs brawling into the audience. This is all stuff that happens very liberally, but it is kind of cool that he did get to pin through the table. Like he just stopped moving and just lay there. 1, 2, 3. You couldn't have done that in a standard match. But otherwise, I don't feel like the stipulation was used to its top effectiveness. They didn't brawl, didn't go all out, didn't start brawling everywhere. That's what I was kind of expecting them to go into the audience more. That would have been interesting. Anyway, it was a good match. Good edition of 205 Live. Lots of fun. I still feel they were kind of holding back for some reason. Maybe it's not finished. Maybe they're not done. Maybe they still have this one more in them, but I don't think so, because, come to think of it, because next week, Drake Maverick at the end made the call. Nice versus Ali next week for the #1 contendership of the Cruiserweight Championship. So we're off to a rousing start for episode 101 of 205 Live. Let's have a chit chat about NXT tonight. William Regal is outside the building, Full Sail University. Don't know if you've heard of it. Regal says he tells the security guards that it's important that they intercept Aleister Black before he arrives, because William needs to talk to him before he gets into the building. Regal has to talk to him. It's imperative that he talks to him before. Mauro Ranallo's not there. Vic Joseph is replacing, so that sort of made me double take a look for a second. It's crazy how you associate Mauro's voice with the NXT product now. When I say you, I mean me. Yeah, but you know, I think he was receiving an award. Mauro did. I think he was receiving an award for being a mental health advocate. And I thought it was interesting that I think that's what it was. I think I had read that he missed the taping because of that. And I think it's interesting that WWE said he's on assignment, because isn't that the kind of promotion that they the kind of PR that they really like, when their employees, their personalities, when they go out and get these socially aware, I'm not using the right terms here. These socially minded, there you go, socially minded awards. It seems to me they always love to make a big deal out of it. I don't know, man. It's kind of odd. John says they did promote it. Yeah. Did they did talk about the Mauro winning an award? I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Undisputed Era comes out to the ring. And it's so good to see Bobby Fish back. All four of them back in the ring. So glad Fish is back. Full Sail is happy too. There's Bobby chants happening. Cole has the microphone and he makes sure to underscore it. Bobby Fish is back, and the Undisputed Era is 100% again. They demolished two of the biggest and baddest men in NXT, the War Raiders, last week. So if anyone wants to get in my way, we'll make sure that you get out of it. The Undisputed Era is NXT, and he sort of did a "you people are not NXT." Because he's a heel, right? You guys, you people are not NXT. We're NXT. Which brings me to Ricochet, is what he says, who has my property. You defended it against me and Pete Dunne, but you know what? You can't defeat me all by yourself. And he is interrupted by EC3. His music hits and he comes out, and he's obviously been shopping with Pete Dunne because he's wearing some kind of long sleeveless fur vest. It's not as short as Pete's. It's more like a petticoat than like a short vest, a fur petticoat. EC3 comes out and he basically starts talking smack, tells Cole that he doesn't deserve a shot at the North American title. Cole says that he doesn't think it's smart that he comes out here and starts insulting him. EC3 says, you guys must be, you guys say you're 100%, but I am the top 1%. And Cole basically says then, well, you know what, son, if you want to get this done, if you want to come out here and be all machismo, let's call a ref and do this right now. Okay. Spontaneous match, Adam Cole versus EC3. Just to touch on quickly this segment. Yeah, I could listen to Adam Cole and EC3 banter at each other for a half hour. That was really good. It was a short exchange, but two guys who are brilliant on the mic. Man, that is fantastic. I honestly don't know how long they're going to be keeping EC3 and NX3. I don't know how long they're going to be keeping EC3 in NXT. Because I mean, he's prime for main. He looks the part. He works like a main roster as well, a main roster guy in the ring, and his mic work is stellar. Like I really think that he's of this mold of wrestlers where he has to where he doesn't have to spend much time in NXT, that he's already packaged for main. Just get him up there, I believe. Anyway, let's get to the match. Cole goes right after EC3, but he battles back with some huge chops, slams Cole to the mat, does his running elbow drop, and man, does he get some elevation on that. while he jumps into the air, to do the elbow drop. There's someone in the audience. You hear a voice going, "Move, Cole!" And I'm like, wow, someone screamed that from the audience, and I just took the recording and I rewound it just to see. It wasn't someone in the audience, it was Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish ringside screaming at Adam Cole to move Cole as the huge elbow, as EC3 takes to the air for the huge elbow. EC3 clotheslines both himself and Cole to the outside. He slams Cole against the ring apron. Back in, Cole takes advantage of EC3 coming in to super kick him back into reality, and Cole gets back in control. Strikes, forearms to the face, neck breaker, covers for one. Cole hits a bicycle kick, covers once again, only gets one. Cole gets EC3 into a fireman's carry, puts him in a fireman's carry into the backbreaker across the knee thing, covers, and almost gets two, like a 1.9. And I'm sitting there watching this and I'm saying to myself, EC3 is looking really strong, kicking out at one on these moves. You know, neck breaker, bicycle kick. It makes sense to me that he kicks out at one. He's a big guy. But the neck breaker on the knee, not even getting a full 2 count on it. I'm like, wow, okay. Booking him strong. That's no BS there. Cole has EC3 in standing body scissors, but EC3 powers out, puts him into a suplex. That was really cool. EC3 battles back with leaping forearms, hits a big German suplex. It's not like a big German in the audience that he runs up to and just smacks. No, he hits a big German suplex on Adam Cole. Does a sit-out powerbomb. Cole kicks out at 2.9. Undisputed Era start distracting EC3. Cole goes for a super kick to the face. Cole runs the ropes then and gets lariated back into Ring of Honor. That was severe. More interference by the Undisputed Era, but EC3 this time fights them off. And in the ensuing confusion, EC3 rolls up Adam Cole for the win. And Adam Cole is stunned. He just can't believe what happened. And as EC3 walks out the ring victoriously, Roderick Strong out of nowhere with his flying kick to the face. It just blink and you missed it. It's a lightning bolt to your jaw. And the Undisputed Era go to town on EC3. They drag him back up the ramp. They beat him up there some more. Then Bobby Fish breaks off from his compatriots, goes down off the stage, grabs a chair, comes back up, and he's ready. He's itching to do some damage to EC3. And the other guys of the Undisputed Era, they're like, whoa, Bobby, you're going a little too far here. You can see they're like sort of in one part enjoying it, one part, whoa, this is going farther than we had planned. But Bobby Fish starts laying the chair onto EC3's knee. Percy, at this moment here, with some insightful commentary, says, "Come on, that's not right." If you say so. Wow. Yeah, everyone, the other members of Undisputed Era, they're like, okay, cool, but yeah, you went a step above here. I'm fine with this. Let's have, it was Bobby Fish spoiled it last week. He's spoiling it again this week. I'm fine with that. Let's have Bobby Fish be the spoiler. I think that's cool. I enjoyed it. Good little match. I found that they both Cole and EC3 work well together. I'd like to see more of them, just the two of them, let them go at it. But you definitely see, yes. John in the chat says, it's a true miscarriage of justice. You know how Bobby Fish went after the knee. Yes, a true miscarriage of justice. That would have actually been better than, come on, that's not right. Anyway, good match. Enjoyed it. EC3 is ready for main. You could argue that Adam Cole is too, but man, he is just so over in NXT. It's ridiculous. We have a Mia Yim promo, which I am entirely for. That was fun. What a great get for NXT. Look good in the Mae Young Classic. We'll talk about that in a bit. Nikki Cross is with security saying, he's coming, he's coming. Who's coming, Nikki? You don't know. Security's like, what's her deal? Aaliyah is being fed to Mia Yim with her NXT debut. The crowd is completely into her. Nice little showcase match here for both ladies. I like sometimes how when they do these showcase matches with, they're not exactly squashes where the enhancement talent, or at least the losing party, let's put it that way, gets some offense in to sort of look good as well in the process. I like how when they do that in NXT, it feels interesting, feels fresh, doesn't come across as a complete squash. There's no reason for Mia Yim to completely squash either. Man, the crowd is really into Yim. She arm drags Aaliyah down, has a nice drop kick, sends Aaliyah to the outside. Aaliyah fights back though, drives her down, gets a series of elbow drops in, goes for a cover, only gets two. She gets a Luthez Prez on Mia, ground and pound, a little bit of that too. Covers Yim, who kicks out at two. Aaliyah's getting some nice strikes in this match. Here's another lady who's been improving. Gets a Northern Lights suplex into a bridge, covers for two. Yim is clearly the baby face here. She's been in peril for most of the match. She battles back with some kicks, some clotheslines, and a drop kick. Boot to the corner, cannonball, soul food, and that's that. Aaliyah overprotected herself, though, when taking soul food. Like she really went and put her hand right under her chin. It was just a little too much, but fine match. Mia Yim in NXT winning matches. When are we getting Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae now? That's a money match. That's where you put the money, in Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae. Can't wait for that. Bianca Belair is whining at William Regal in a doorway. She's whining that she doesn't have a title shot. Blah, blah, blah. William Regal heads to his office, and Kathy, the interviewer, she's there as well. She's always in front of his office. She's always waiting there, just hanging around. She asks him, Do you know the name? Do you know who Nikki Cross was talking about? Did you know who she named to Aleister Black? He says no. And before he can go on, our boys, the Jocks, come over. Undisputed Era, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And Adam Cole goes, you're going to let EC3 do whatever you want? I suggest you do your job. I suggest you do your job. Get your act together, son. And Regal says, you guys need to get your act together after all these shenanigans, because next week we're getting War Raiders versus Adam Cole and Bobby Fish. Sure. Why not? This is obviously all in the buildup for the War Games match. I'm gonna walk you through my thought process again, if you'll have it. They've been maintaining like a circle of feuds, you know, with Adam Cole and Ricochet, the Undisputed Era with the War Raiders, but Mustache Mountain, that feud isn't, you know, their rivalry is still very fresh, and Pete Dunne and Ricochet having sparred with each other, exchanging words, you know, respect, but a very competitive level of respect. Now, my vision for the War Games match was to have Undisputed Era, we're talking about three guys, and Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly versus and Adam Cole versus the British Strong Boys, Dunn, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, versus Ricochet and the War Raiders. But now they came and threw a monkey wrench in there in the form of VC3. Now, is this simply going to be like a build-up feud, like a transitional feud into War Games? Or is he going to be added into War Games? And is he going to be added in lieu of Ricochet, who maybe they'll just transition him into actually having a title defense at War Games? Or are we going to be looking at 4-man teams instead of 3? That would be interesting. That would be really, really interesting. I'm excited to see where this goes. We get the excellent Roman Reigns video package that they broadcast last night on SmackDown, which was extremely moving. Lacey Evans gets a promo package as well. Ciampa is in a truck bed with his NXT title. I think that's where he secretly goes to make out with it. And we get a great build-up video for Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler at WWE Evolution. Man, if they had put even a modicum of the effort into this video here just to build this match to all the other matches, man, I think we'd be much more excited for Evolution, or at least it would have it not much more excited, because I'm still excited for it, but it'd feel more significant. It'd feel bigger. It'd be on the proper level of hype that it should be getting. That's what I meant. Justin Xavier versus Cassius Ohno. We have some Ohno's going to kill you chance to start with, and Ohno seems annoyed at them. You know, I don't want to toot my horn, but I have been predicting the Cassius Ohno heel turn for months now. Months. Your boy. I'm still standing by the fact that Cassius Ohno is the guy who went after Aleister Black. Despite what Johnny anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Xavier tries to take him down, but he can't. Takes to take him down with a shoulder block, but Ohno basically no-sells him. Ohno's annoyed at him, actually, and he face palms him to the mat. Spinning running elbow by Xavier stuns Ohno. He then runs the rope, but Ohno lays into him with a running boot. Not just a boot. A boot. Puts him in a fireman's carry, overhead slams him, atomic leg drop. Xavier battles back, but again, big boot and the pair of sentons, dudettes. Cassius Ohno sentons, there's something special about them, aren't they? There's just something really, really fantastic about them. He just, the height that he gets, the positioning when he lands. I don't know how you protect yourself from one of those. They just really good, look really good. Rolling elbow for the win. Let's not forget, he had given a name to his new finisher, that rolling elbow, called it the Dream Crusher. which I had added in my theories as to why he was turning heel. That's a heel name. That's a move for a heel. The Dream Crusher. You don't give that to your white meat baby face. But he gets the win. Nikki Cross comes out. She's at the top of the ramp. She's laughing. She says, he's coming. Cassius Ohno's like, what? And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Alistair's on the way, Cassius, to eat your face. But I actually think that Nikki is just toying with him and that, somehow she knows that Matt Riddle is coming after him. I don't know. But I'm still holding hope. I still think Cassius Ohno is the guy who took Aleister Black out. I think it's a perfect segue for Black to return. And again, I'm going to say it again. This whole Aleister Black angle was brilliant. Aleister needed time for his injury. I think he had surgery, needed some time off. What a better way. I mean, this is literally lemons out of lemonade. Lemonade out of lemons. You could try to do lemons out of lemonade too. You know what? Come to think of it, when you put a little thought to it, that's actually harder. It's actually harder to make lemons out of lemonade. So yeah, this is exactly what happened. NXT, Aleister Black gets injured before their main event at TakeOver. They have to spin everything around. They get served a glass of lemonade, and they're told, make lemons out of this. All right, fine, we'll make lemons out of it. We'll create a storyline, a whodunit. And it keeps Aleister Black fresh in everyone's mind. He still feels important. He feels like a top guy. And we're still talking about him week after week, despite the fact that he's not on TV. Lemonade out of lemons. Lemons out of lemonade. God damn it. What's wrong with me? Matthew Riddle is debuting next week. You heard of this guy? William Regal. We're getting a main event segment on NXT. That does not happen very often. William Regal is in to make his much touted announcement regarding the NXT Championship at the War Games. And he's about to announce Ciampa's competition, but Ciampa comes out. And I love how, I don't know if you've noticed this, I think I've mentioned it before, but when Ciampa is looking at the belt and he kisses the belt, he's looking at his nameplates. He's not looking at the middle of the belt. When he had it, he was on the side of the ring and was holding it up. He was looking up at the nameplates. And when he brings it down and he kisses the belt, he never kisses the belt. He kisses the nameplates. Oh, no. John Baez is a pineapple on pizza lover. John, you're from New York. I've at least thought that you'd be, oh my goodness. I would have expected this from like someone from Florida. But from New York, John, you're breaking my heart, man. And you're getting me off script here. What are you doing, dude? So Ciampa has a microphone and he says, with all due respect, Mr. Regal, wipe that smug look off your face and boy, don't you stare at the champ's title. Says, make your announcement. And as William Regal starts to make his announcement, he gets interrupted again, this time by Velveteen Dream, who says the headliner is here. Dream says that he wants William Regal to say his name. And as William Regal begins to go ahead once more with his announcement, Lars Sullivan comes out. And I'm like, oh, no, not Lars Sullivan. Not again. So Lars says that you're standing in Lars Sullivan territory. You'd better move, Dream, because the NXT Championship belongs to me. And Velveteen Dream with the line of the night. Lars Sullivan, the Dream understands that you're a nightmare, but when you're speaking to the Dream expects you to wear some pants. Line of the night. And then through all this chaos, Nikki Cross runs in and says, he's here, he's here, he's here. And cameras go to the back. Aleister Black is black massing. It's not black, the Black Mass, right? Oh, man. Yeah, it's the Black Mass. Anyway, he's heel kicking everyone. He out of the entire security is down. Ciampa bails as Aleister hits the ring, but Lars gets a Black Mass for his trouble. Black confronts Regal. And he says, "Where is he? Where is he?" And as he's confronting your man William, he gets super kicked out of nowhere by Johnny Gargano, who picks up a microphone and says, "I'm right here," and drops the mic. Black Mass. Thank you, John. But yeah, no, I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this right now, because I still think that there's much more potential for Johnny Gargano as a babyface. I think babyface Johnny Gargano is good, but I'm going to leave it to NXT to be able to read the room and understand how things are going. You know, maybe they felt that Gargano's reactions were sort of slipping a little bit. You know, that whole mess with the title belt, you know, sort of had the audience turn against Johnny. Maybe that was planned, though. And if it was genius. He comes back, fights Tony Nese. He's all smiles and cupcakes and cheery-faced Johnny. But now, apparently, he's the man who took Aleister Black out. I want to know how he did it. It's not as much a why Johnny why situation. It's more like a how, Johnny. How? How did you attack Aleister Black and take him out? Seriously. You know? John says Ciampa made him insane. Yes, no, I understand the psychology of it. I understand. Like, as far as his character goes, it makes perfect sense. That's not the question. It just works. There's a long game to what they're doing here, which you don't see in WWE. This makes entire sense. I get, maybe I'm just being a little too emotional about it. I like my Johnny. I like Johnny as a babyface. I want my Johnny wrestling. We'll see where this goes. I'm curious to see what kind of explanation Mr. Gargano has in store for us. I swear I'm still holding hope that that Cassius Ohno is involved on some level, because it makes sense. He's a big guy. They call him the knockout artist. That's the thing. KO, knockout, Cassius Ohno. He's the knockout artist. It makes sense that he would be the guy who'd knock him down, especially throughout this heel turn. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, a heel turn is not the end of the world. And as opposed to any other level of creative in WWE, I have faith in NXT creative. They have not let me down in such a long time, except for the way they handled Candice LeRae. But that, friends, is a discussion for another time. This was an okay episode of NXT, but, you know, it was filled with promos and video clips and packages. You know, Adam Cole versus EC3 was your match of the night, really. That was the big match. Otherwise, the other two were squashes, essentially. Well, not squashes, but enhancement matches. But that's okay. They had to advance storylines here, and I'm okay with this. Mae Young Classic now. Semifinals. Last week we had Meiko Satomura over Lacey Lane and Io Shirai versus Deonna Purrazzo, Fightful alumni. Deonna Purrazzo Rhea Ripley over Tegan Nox in the leg snap heard around the world, and Toni Storm versus Mia Yim. I'm going to talk about the matches because I'd like to talk about Tegan Nox, Nixon Newell, however you want to call her. I guess we should call her Tegan Nox now. We have to stop calling her Nixon Newell, I guess, at this point. But I'll talk about her in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about the matches. Our first match. So basically, we have Toni Storm versus Mako Satomura tonight, and Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. Those are two semifinals. Oh boy! So let's talk about Toni Storm versus Mako Satomura. I'm still all sweaty. What a match this was, folks. They lock up to begin. Satomura twists the arm. Storm reverses it into a key lock. Satomura powers her down, and we're right into a mat game. They trade some locks. Satomura does a nice toe hold takedown on Storm, who has her in a headlock and is trying to stand back up. That was really, really nice. They trade shoulder blocks. Big kick by Storm sends Satomura down. Covers, gets 2. Storm kicks her some more while Satomura is down. Couple of headbutts. Nice snap suplex into a cover for 2. Satomura starts battling back with some vicious kicks to to Storm's hamstrings. Starts working the leg. Gets her right into a knee lock, like a sitting figure 4. Turns her over onto her stomach. That was nice. Working the leg. That was fantastic. But now she starts working the other leg. She was working the right leg then. Now Satomura starts working the left leg of Toni Storm. It's a running, spinning heel kick. And Storm then battles back and gets her into a... Oh, man. I'm trying to remember the name of the move, of the submission move that she got Satomura in. Storm did. And it's not coming to me. I want to. I don't even want to advance anything. I can't remember. But she basically locks up the legs and pulls back into from a crossface, and she holds on to that move for the better part of a good 4 minutes, indeed. Like, she had Satomura in that move for a long time. Satomura eventually reaches the ropes, but her leg hurts. She's in trouble. Storm gets a fisherman suplex into her bridge, covers but gets 2. She kicks Mako, and Mako rolls out of the ring, and she's reeling, like she's in trouble. The first real signs of trouble that she's had all tournament. Storm dives through the bottom and second rope, and they land hard on the ramp. And I thought Satomura's head hit really hard on the steel, but no, Storm protected her head, but Storm took the brunt of it on her elbow for sure. Sliding kick by back in the ring here. Storm hits a sliding kick cover, but again, Satomura kicks out. Some kicks to the face. Satomura starts firing up, who comes back with kicks of her own. It's a kick fest, the kick party. Satomura plants Storm with a DDT, cartwheel leg drop to the back of her head. Death Valley driver on Toni Storm, who kicks out at 2. Mako goes for a kick. Toni catches it, and she German suplexes Mako on her friggin' neck. Toni Storm sets her up for the Storm Zero, covers, and Mako kicks out at 2. This was nuts. Everyone was into this. She goes again for the Storm Zero, but instead gets a Pele kick for trouble. She gets a shin kick to the face by Satomura. Satomura covers, and Storm kicks out at 2.9. Scorpion kick, covers. Storm kicks out again. Mako is furious, but a final Storm Zero does it, and Toni Storm advances to the finals. That was an excellent match. Probably my favorite of the tournament. Yes, John, that is how you do it. That is a fantastic, fantastic match. Male or female, if you love wrestling, boom. That was it right there. Rhea Ripley against Io Shirai now. Interesting matchup, and it was interesting how they went about it. Yes, big woman, small woman, they did it, but they did it really well because Ripley worked for it. She got in early using her strength, her size advantage, but it worked in this contest because it looked realistic. It wasn't just like shoving people around, pushing people. Ripley, this was quite a physical match, and that's why it worked so well. Ripley gets her in an armbar stretch, and she punches Io in the ribs. Not Io. Completely in control with her power for the better part of this match. She's keeping Shirai grounded. That's the story of the match. She has it scouted. She doesn't want Shirai to start flying around. Io strikes to escape, but to escape a hold, but Ripley just smacks her across the face, ground and pound, and into some leg scissors. My fiance, who watches New Japan with me but doesn't watch pro wrestling, she sat down to watch these guys, and she could not get over the size of Rhea Ripley's legs. How long they were, how massive they were. Forearms to the back. I mean, Ripley is just laying into her. This was what happened with most of the match. She hit her stalling vertical suplex. It's all about the power game in this case here. Shirai's big comeback happens, or at least begins, when she shifts her hips while in a leg scissors, and she starts laying in like a dozen forearms right to Ripley's face. Everyone is down. Io hits a Frankensteiner, goes for a cover, only gets two. And they're exhausted. They're absolutely exhausted. Later on, that's it, towards the end of the match. There's a suplex by Ripley that's reversed by Io. Some big strikes. She gets a 619 in, missile drop kick, cover for two. She goes for the moonsault, but Ripley rips Io across the top rope. There's some top rope shenanigans that ensue that ends with a beautiful superplex by Ripley to the outside. Covers, but again, another kick out at 2 for Shirai. Snake Eyes is reversed. Ripley into the post. Meteor in the corner by Shirai, followed by the top rope moonsault for the win. And that is that. Our finals for the Mae Young Classic are going to be Io Shirai versus Toni Storm. And if you're not excited about that, I think you're dead. I think there's no pulse. Feel yourself if you're not excited. These were the finals were really, really good. But man, Satomura and Storm, that was on another level. That was so good. And if I can take a second or two here to just talk, maybe recap or at least give you some final thoughts about the Mae Young Classic this year. I kind of enjoyed last year's a little more, maybe because it was the novelty. I felt on one end, maybe I thought that maybe I felt the women wanted it more, but you had some stellar performances here this year that, sort of keeps it buoyant. It was far from being terrible. What stood out for me here was how WWE pushed its own homegrown talent, Casey Catanzaro, Zia Brookside, and Xia Li, who looked really, really good. She's been wrestling for about, 18 months to 2 years. She looked really good. My favorite matches were Storm versus Satomura tonight. Satomura versus Mercedes Martinez was extraordinary as well. Caitlyn versus Mia Yim. Physical, hard-hitting, fast-paced. You have to check that match out. And Caitlyn definitely needs a second look from WWE management. That was fantastic. Had a great time watching Nicole Matthews as well. I thought her match against Isla Dawn was really good. Jenny Couture had a great opening match against Toni Storm as well. Hiroyo Matsumoto, that I had never seen before. I'll be frank about it. She was excellent. It was a good tournament. Can't wait to see the finals at WWE Evolution this Sunday. But guys, right now we are going to sign off. You can Follow me on the internets over at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That's my own YouTube channel, or at Mr. Warren Hayes on Twitter. But thank you all very much for supporting Fightful on Fightful Select, and I will see you next time.